Top above it, y'all. We back with I think this is part 3 of Hip Hop Stories. And this one is one that I really, 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 really cherish, man. Because this was definitely an instrumental part of my life and part of my evolution as an MC. And this is when I went to the studio to record my verse for the song called The Hood that was featured on the multi-platinum album Ruff Ryders Presents Ride or Die Volume 1. Everybody was on that album, from Jay-Z to Busta to Pun to The Lox to Eve, Dragon. I think Juvie was on that. Classic album, but nevertheless, I remember coming to, what's that, Powerhouse Studio that Ruff Ryders had, and Swiss giving me the original track, which wasn't the one that we ended up on. So I remember getting that track right into it, and I think D had called me and was like, yo, you got to come back up to the studio because it's another beat. So I came back up and got the one that ended up to being the joint for The Hood. And I remember getting the track, going home, sitting down, and I believe I had wrote like 2 verses for it, but I know I had wrote more than one verse. And I remember kicking it to people around me, and the verse that ended up being the one that stayed, that was the one that when I kicked it to people around me, they were like, yeah, that's the one, child, that's the one for sure. So now dig this, right? This way it get real. I come to the studio to lay it down. And when I got there, I forget, I know it was other guys there. It was like the engineer, but Styles P was there from the Lox and a couple of other guys, but I don't remember everybody else. Thanks to God, I do remember Styles being there and what our interaction was while he was there. And I remember coming in, I remember him, you know, Styles is one of them dudes, he animated, you know what I'm saying, and but at the same time, you know, he's a serious dude, and he loved the craft, and he's an MC for real. He's an MC's MC. So he was like, yo, child, man, you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of people on this joint. You need to get on here and really come correct, because they coming with it. So I'm like, all right, I see, you know. So they let me listen, and when I listened, no cap in my rap. It had to be, I would say, a good 9 verses that I heard when I got there. Now, let me give y'all some context, right? The whole purpose of this song was for Swiss/Ruff Ryders to present to the world the hottest, newest MCs on the streets at that time. Let me say that again. The purpose of this song was to highlight and feature the hottest 5 dudes. It could have been females too, but the hottest 5 dudes in the street at that point in time, the up and coming, the new artists. So they let it could have been 30 people that laid their vocals on that song before they narrowed it down to the final 5, which I was one of those. But the fact of the matter is, when I came to the studio, I heard about 9 verses. It could have been more, but I heard a gang of people on that joint. So that's why Styles was saying what he was saying, like, yo, you got to come correct, child, because this is one of them ones. So, boom, I goes in the booth. After I listened to everybody, because I already knew. And that's why I wrote my verse a certain way, because I said, I'm going to be the hottest dude on it. That was my mentality. It wasn't about dissing nobody on the song. It wasn't about, you know, trying to say something that, you know, was like, how you say, out of line or out of pocket. But I said, I'm going to come from an angle to where I don't care who it is, a record executive, a A&R, a producer, somebody who just came home from doing 10 years in prison. When they hear my verse, they're going to say, yo, he need to be on that song. So with that being said, I goes in the booth, and the producer like, all right, you ready? I mean, the engineer rather. because Swiss wasn't there. Swiss produced the track. Now, if Swiss was there, I don't remember him being there. So I'm going off of what I remember. So anybody watching this video, understand this is 20 plus years ago. So, you know what I'm saying? I just really remember what was said to me and the interaction I had with Styles. That's why I, highlighted this video as my interactions and hip hop stories with Styles P from the LOX, right? So now I go in the booth, engineer's ready, I spit my verse. And I remember while I'm spitting it, I could see Styles throughout the booth window or whatever, and he like, I could see his face. He like, he just vibing with me like, yo, he's spitting. So when I'm done, you know what I'm saying, the engineer, let Styles spit. He like, yo, that shit is crazy. He like, yo, man, oh man, that's what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? So Styles, he pumped, so that got me pumped. And then he took it a step further. Not only is he co-signing my verse to tell me that it's fire, which I already knew, but to get a co-sign from somebody who I respect like that as an MC, that meant the world to me. And let me tell you something. Styles said, yo, listen, man. He said, I'm gonna be honest with you. He said, he said, that's some shit I would say. He said, not only that, man, you got it. He said, yo, just make sure when you say this, say it like this. Make sure when you say this, pull back a little bit and do this. And I just took heed and I said, all right, I got you. Now watch this. I already knew the verse was flames. He knew the verse was flames. But I could have been in my ego like a lot of y'all artists do. Older and younger, but in particular, a lot of younger artists, y'all don't listen. Y'all be so caught up in your ego, you be thinking, oh, it's cool because everybody around me said it's cool, so I don't need to tighten up nothing. I don't need to, make sure my flow is, I could say it any way I want to know. And I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you even more evidence of why you don't do that. When Styles told me what he told me, and he was coaching me through the verse, and he said, yo, child, when you say this part, say it like this. And I was like, I got you. We did it again. I think I messed up or tripped over my words. He was like, yo, yeah, you getting it, But I kept listening to him. And the advice and the coaching and the mentorship he was giving me in real time, that shit was worth more than gold. And I kept listening. And I was like, all right. And I think it was the third take. Go time. Third take, money in the bank. And then I remember, I think doing my ad-libs, that was it. I really didn't need to do too much to that verse. And then I came out of the booth and Styles was dapping me up and he was like, yo, I'm telling D and them that verse gotta go on the joint. He was like, yo, you bodied that joint. And let me say something to y'all, because I think I've said this on another video, but I'm gonna say it particularly on this one. When I recorded that verse, I actually said, for dough, I murder every nigga not on this track. No, excuse me. When I originally recorded it, I said, for dough, I'll murder every nigga rhyming on this track. That's what I said originally. I remember after maybe I don't know if it was a week or a couple of days after I left the studio, D, who's one of the owners of Ruff Ryders, he called me like, yo, child, man, everybody going crazy over your verse, man. That shit was fire. He was like, man, we've been listening to that shit all the time. So he pumped, but he said, yo. But I just want to tell you, child, you might have to come in and change that part where you said, for dough, I murder every nigga rhyming on this track. He said, cause how D talk. He's like, yo, dudes kind of felt, they kind of felt a certain way. Like, damn, why child he dissing us? No, that's that. Hey, at that time, especially with battle rap and being in ciphers with dudes, that's how greasy we talk. But I didn't take it the wrong way or take it personal or take it to my heart when D said that. I just said that's how powerful and potent my verse was, where I said, for dough, I murder every nigga rhyming on this track. Let me tell you something. New Child was really in his bag at that time. You know what I'm saying? I still got it, but I'm saying at that time I was talking crazy on that joint. You see what I'm saying? It reminded me of Nas's verse on when he said, when I was 12, I went to hell for snuffing Jesus. On this verse, I said, what I said, it was a similar line where I said, I said, I'm a sick dude, type to ask God, you want a battle? I could care less. Send me to hell. I like to travel. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. But yo, nevertheless, after D called me and told me to change that part, I came back in the studio and I changed that part where I said, for dough, I changed it from for dough, I murder every nigga rhyming on this track to for dough, I murder every nigga, for dough, I murder every nigga not on this track. But I'm gonna tell you, that's the crazy part about it. A lot of people don't know that. But I had to change. I had the original. I wish they would have kept the original, because not only that's how I wrote it, but it's just the rawness of that song and of that verse, and that's the type of lyrical genius and lyrical cleverness and creativity that should be, you know what I'm saying, welcome. But nevertheless, it was to me, it was a small thing to a giant. I just said, they keeping the verse, so I'm not gonna get caught up in the fact that they telling me to just change that part, right? I'm gonna just go with the flow. And then I did, and it ended up being one of the, still to this day, 20 plus years later, people are talking about that verse on the hood. Still to this day, when I meet people and they say, yo, you was New Child on that joint, on the Rough Rider, Ride or Die Volume 1 compilation, on the hood, the third verse? Yeah. This be the realest shit I ever wrote. Gun up in your mouth, hands around your throat, choke, nigga, choke, I'm dope. Roll me up and smoke off contact. Niggas react and play me back for dough. I murder every nigga not on this track. I spit back at any nigga claiming he Teflon. The best Dom be the next nigga get stepped on. A sick dude, type to ask God, you want a battle? I could care less. Send me to hell. I like to travel. After waxing him, I wax you, smack you, clap you. Now that's two niggas I left looking like statue. I have to bring it to these cowards that talk hard. Some jail shit, never even walk through a junkyard. I thump hard, make a nigga yell for crew quick. A true bitch, eat a nigga up like a chew stick. Too rich is what I plan to be in the 9-9. It's all mine. Faggots ride bench when it's crunch time. So bump mine. Make a nigga lean off the opium. You Ethiopian. Willie niggas, yeah, we scoping them and roping them. Do a nigga Rosewood style. Hanging, wallet with a picture. Wife, moms, and his child. Come on now. Come on, man. I was spitting on that joint, so, hey, man, but I just want to say, shout out to Styles P, the Ghost. Man, he one of them ones. And when you see this video, champ, I just want to tell you salute. And I know for a fact, I'm not going to say that, you know, Styles don't get accolades or get the love and respect that he deserves. I'm just saying from what I see, I haven't seen it. You know what I'm saying? But Styles could, when he watched this video, he could say, nah, man, you know, child, people do give it up the way they should. And if they do, I stand corrected. But I really, 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 really feel as though Styles don't get the admiration and the respect that he deserves and he's earned, because that man been spitting bars for decades, literally for decades. Because that particular time, like I said in the verse, that was 1999, man. We in 2020 rich. So, you know, I'm truly appreciative of that time that Styles was in the studio with me and giving me that good game and that encouragement. And he could have been one of them too cool for TV ass rappers. Oh man, yeah, it's cool, yeah, you know, it's cool, you know, yeah, all right, yeah, do your thing, you know, all right, I'll talk to you later type shit. But he was amped, and you would think that I was one of his homies or something. You know what I'm saying? You would think that I, like, he grew up with me because the way he was so, like, yo, rooting for me. That's the word I would say. The way he was rooting for me, and like, yo, child, though, that verse is, he was like, man, you saying some shit. Because when you, man, even me to this day, when I break that verse down, just hearing me me doing it right now live to y'all on my phone, on this camera, I got not only a flashback, but I'm listening to what I'm saying, and I'm saying, man, this is incredible. Like, I really was spitting from the beginning to the end, and I intentionally wrote that verse because I said that way. I said, I want to make sure that bar for bar, I'm kicking everybody's ass, not just on this track with me, but all the MCs, like, once again, that's in the street at that time, the young artists that was coming up. Oh no, ain't nobody, and anybody hear that verse, they gonna say, yo, man, he's incredible. There's no way that yo, it's gonna take a lot to, you know what I'm saying, to defeat that, you know, or to compete with that, because ain't no holes in it. You can't poke no holes in that verse. So salute once again to Styles P, man, the ghost, man, for giving me that encouragement, you know. And that would, let me tell you something. That's one story with Styles, if you will, or, you know, part of it. But there was a time that me, him, and my brother from another mother, Furious Styles, was in, I believe it was Powerhouse, or could have been one of the other studios where we used to go, and they used to have ciphers all the time because they'd be at different studios doing that. And Styles just sat me and my bro down and was giving us game about the industry. I remember Styles saying, yo, man, I'm not even 100,000 there yet. And I'm telling you, when you have guys open up like that and really give you real wisdom in real time, in a real way, and ain't no sugarcoating shit, you gotta salute that, man. You gotta salute. So, you know, the jewels that Styles was telling me, he was like, yo, man, you know, it's a business. You gotta, you know, really be on point. You know what I'm saying? Make sure shit is, you know, your affairs are in order, and just, you know, and grind. You know, grind, get your, you know, he was just giving us the ground, from the ground floor up, and letting us know it ain't a peachy, creamy type of journey. You're gonna have to work, you're gonna have to earn your keep, but keep grinding, and you're gonna end up shining. You know, and I know it's another, matter of fact, I got another Styles P story for y'all. We was down at, it was either Hit Factory or Sony Studios. And I remember it was me, I don't know if Dragon was there, but it was some other artists. And Styles was listening to me spit, and he went to my same brother from another mother, Furious Styles, and was like, yo, this dude is, as a matter of fact, my brother, I don't know, my brother Black might have been there. I think Black was there too, or it was either Black or Styles. They would know, once again, when they hear this scenario, they'll know which one it was that was there with me. But I was spitting, and Styles was like, yo, he was smoking, he's like, yo, your brother, yo, he's a gorilla. He's a gorilla. He's, you know, and you know, it seemed like at certain, if you want to say pivotal points, Styles would be there, and he would always say the right things that would just have me in even more on his own, like, yo, you on it, because you got one of the most solid MCs, and that's the crazy part, because this was 20 years ago, and Styles was still spitting that straight fire flame back then. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, I wouldn't even say, to be honest, I wouldn't even say back then was his prime. I wouldn't even say that, because I think to be honest, Styles has gotten better over time. You know what I'm saying? His shit is disgustingly outstanding. I fucks with Styles, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he really be on it. And then his spirit, I haven't been around him in a while, but I just know from the time that I was around him, he showed me nothing but love and respect, and he went above and beyond to give me game, encouragement, enlightenment, you know what I'm saying? Inspiration to continue on with this thing we call MCing and really being a microphone controller and being somebody that get on that mic and say something that means something. So salute to Styles P, salute to the Locks, salute to D, Y, Ruff Ryders, man. I learned a lot being over there with them guys, even though I never signed with them as an artist, just being in that atmosphere with them. And and learning so much, even without D saying nothing, Y saying nothing, or even Styles or anybody else, just being in that environment with them. Because it was such a competitive environment, it was such a serious environment, like you couldn't come over there playing, whether you was a producer or artist. If you was in that Rough Rider, circle, and when they were at Powerhouse, when they were at Sony Studios, Hit Factory and all that, I think Styles P was there the day Jay-Z, we was in the Jay-Z session where I think he was doing his verse for Blackout. Styles may remember that shit. This is all fact. I remember going in the room, Jay sitting there with Biggs, and they playing the beat to Blackout. That's the verse where Jay was like, he said something about the roof is off, and oh man, that shit was crazy. And I think that was on X album called Blackout, and I think Swiss did that beat. But I remember when Jay was sitting in the studio listening to the beat, vibing to it before he spit his verse, and they opened the door and let us rap to the instrumental. And Jay was in the cypher just bouncing like, and I think Styles was there that time too. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. The ghost, man. You know what I'm saying? Salute to you. I had to do this, though. I had to do this because these stories like this, these are stories I've shared with people. Me and my brother talk about it from time to time, but I wanted to share with the world. You never know who you inspiring, man. You never know that person that you help today will be the person that'll help your son tomorrow, help your wife tomorrow, or even when you may be down or you may not be inspired and you hear this person's music, and that's somebody you inspired 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. So, yes, indeed, man. I think this is hip-hop story number 3 with none other than the one and only Styles P. All right, y'all. I'm gone. One love.